Hello, welcome. We're at the Installer Show and I'm with Mark from Fluke, and today we're going to be talking about the unexpected features of the Fluke 1670 multifunction testers that you'll come to rely on. So welcome.
Jess, good to see you again.
So we're going to talk about a couple of features that people will just come to rely on using these multifunction testers. But before that, please could you give me an overview of the series, how they're different to Fluke's 1660 series, and why Fluke have decided to bring out these new 1670 MFTs now.
Okay, so the 1660 series has been out for some time and it's a hugely successful range in the marketplace.
Yeah.
But inevitably technology moves forward and customers' requirements move forward, and we've got to adapt and move with their requirements as well as the industry requirements as well. So hence we brought out the new 1670 series. It starts with the 1672, which I suppose would be aimed more towards the domestic type installer who doesn't need features like EV or surge protected devices and such, which I'll mention a little bit later on. So the 1672 is for those that have perhaps used our previous 1662 in the past and are looking to update it. All the models feature a colour touchscreen now, which has just brought it a little bit more up to date and using a really nice clear colour display. From the 1672 onwards, we meet the 1673 FC. Anything with the letters FC in a Fluke part number refers to Fluke Connect.
Yes.
And this is a wireless connection between the instrument and a Fluke Connect app on a mobile phone device. So that means that data can be replicated from the instrument onto the display, saved there for future works, or forwarded on to another department for information review.
Yeah.
The 73 adds an important feature being EV compatible. Okay. So for anybody installing AC EV installations, along with the FEV 300 adapter, they can fully test an EV station to comply with those regulations as well. The flagship 1674 that we have here with the letters FC as well adds a couple of important tests. The insulation monitoring device test is a test which protects, an IMD protects generally servers or IT systems.
Yes.
So that's constantly monitoring the insulation resistance in that circuit, and should anything vary outside its parameters, it will disconnect. So the 1674 will test IMDs. And along a similar process, it'll also test SPDs, surge protected devices, a specific test to make sure that those are functioning correctly.
Yeah.
Another really nice feature on the 74 is it detects any potential equipment which is still plugged into a circuit before you carry out an insulation resistance test. So potentially if you've got an IT system, a laptop or a PC plugged in, the 1674 can detect any ancillary equipment that's still plugged in that should be removed before you do an insulation resistance test. So we're adding some really nice features across onto the 1674.
Yes, there's quite a lot of new features.
There's a lot of new features there, yes.
So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the two-way conversation between the multifunction tester and your PC, and how that is beneficial in particular to electrical contractors testing rented housing.
Sure. So all of the 1670 series have the capability to create the distribution board information on the tester itself.
Yes.
So if the electrician arrives to site, he doesn't know what the board configuration is until he gets there. That's not a problem. He can create it as he goes on the instrument itself. If he's got prior knowledge of what the distribution board is, he can easily create that information in the Fluke TrueTest software on his PC and send that to the instrument before he goes to site to do the work. So the 1674 communicates both ways. It's not just a downloadable tester, it's actually an uploadable tester as well.
Yeah, that saved them a lot of time.
A lot of time.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about was reporting. And Fluke 1670 series has removed the time and risk associated with double entry. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. So we've mentioned about creating the circuit details on the instrument first of all.
Yes.
So if I arrive at a property, I can easily carry out all the tests that are required for that particular installation. So I can tell the instrument whether I'm doing a full installation, whether I'm doing a minor works, or whether I'm doing an EICR report. And all the appropriate tests are across there. So I come to your home, I do the EICR test, and I download the results to my PC and produce a certificate from there.
Yeah.
If I take an example of a rental property, so we're thinking about housing associations, student accommodation and such, each time there's a tenancy change, it's best practice for the electrician to go back into that property, retest it to make sure that everything's correct before the next tenant takes over that property.
Yeah.
So as we've mentioned, the 1670 series talks both ways. So if I've been to a rental property, I've got that database already, I've got the board configuration on my laptop.
Yeah.
Before I go back to revisit and retest, I link this up to my laptop before I go, bring the board configuration back into the instrument, and I've got that ready when I get to site. And if anything has changed since I got to do the test the first time round, I can easily edit that board configuration and add in the extra circuits that may have been added. So there may have been an EV installation added since my last visit. I can now add that on and easily update that record accordingly. And downloading into TrueTest keeps that process of updating, record keeping, and minimizing the user error.
Yes.
Like everything's user error, it's possible. But if we minimize it by having the tests that are required visible on the instrument, I can easily see if I've missed any particular test as well. I'll have a blank box, and I thought, before I leave site, I've got to go and do that test again. So we're minimizing user error, we're minimizing data input, and we're minimizing those really long periods of time that can be taken filling in certification afterwards and calculating, was that test a good pass, was it a borderline pass, do I need to reinvestigate that a little further. Adding a lot of features on here to be able to have the tester flag up any potential issues before I leave site.
It streamlines everything.
Absolutely, and anything which we minimise that admin time, which is often time that the customer isn't getting paid for.
Yeah.
He's getting paid on site to do the testing, but if we can minimise that admin time, that's got to be a plus from his side of things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so another question I have is that people often wonder, can you add to the electrical contract, can they add their own logo or a trade association logo onto the TrueTest?
Absolutely, it's a question I get asked regularly. So when the customer first installs TrueTest on his laptop, there are two available logo spaces for that. The first is usually his own company logo.
Yes.
And the second space is for the accreditation body that he may belong to. Mm-hmm. There are many accreditation bodies out there, and he can upload that logo. So when he produces his certificates, he's got both logos on there. He's got his own company logo, and he's got a trade affiliation logo on that as well.
And that has to be done when you first get...
It's easily done, so we don't need to repeat that each time a certificate is produced. So it's part of the installation process with TrueTest that he just configures it all exactly what he needs, and then whatever logos he's uploaded, they'll appear on that certificate as well.
Great. Okay, and finally, what is the main message you want people to take away from this talk today?
So we've pointed out how the 1670 series has moved on from the previous series.
Yes.
All the 1670 series have a USB-C port located on the top. Mm-hmm. That's a dual-purpose port. It's mainly used for recharging, so we've got a rechargeable battery pack in all of these. Yes. So it's really easy to recharge via the USB-C. But as industry standards move, regulations change, customers' requirements change, we can easily update the firmware in this unit also via the USB port at the top. So by registering your product with Fluke, any updates, you'll get an email through from Fluke to say that there's a new update of firmware, and the customer can do that himself very easily without sending the instrument back. So we're looking at constantly evolving the product as industry standards change and customers' requirements might change as well. So it's much easier to update than previous models as well.
Great. Thank you, Mark. That's been
Very welcome.
really insightful.
Thank you.
And remember, you can buy the Fluke 1670 series multifunction testers at tester.co.uk.